Today we've got a compelling comparison for you with two guitars from Gibson. We're looking at small body 00 from different series. Cooper's got the Generation 00, which was new last year, and I've got the L-00 Studio. Let's compare them and see which one comes out on top. Stay tuned. Hey, you're watching Alamo Music TV. My name is Chris McKee.
And I'm Cooper Greenberg.
We're here with Alamo Music Center in San Antonio, Texas. You can find us online at alamomusic.com. If you're new to the channel, make sure to subscribe, turn on notifications, like our videos. If you'd like to support the channel, visit our spring store link below for custom designed t-shirts. I'm wearing one under this hoodie. Spoiler alert. Anyways, so we've got two small body guitars from Gibson. These are both 00s, not to be confused with the 000 or the Quad O. These are just 00s.
Quad O, dude.
And what we figured out, thanks to Josh earlier today, was that means that the G-00 is the...
It's the goo.
It's the goo, which means this is the loo. So the goo versus the loo today. And really, it's not, I lied, it's not really about which one comes out on top. It's really a good comparison, though, to talk about the different features of these two guitars and the price points that they occupy. The only thing that's similar about these guitars, really, is the body shape and the manufacturer. Yeah. And that's it.
Yeah, you know, I've been a fan of the L-00. I think it's cool, and it's nice that they included that body shape with the Generation. And I got kind of... I don't know. I have my opinion on this guitar, why some might think it's the best of the Generation collection.
Is it because it's the cheapest?
That's part of it.
That's certainly
maybe.
compelling.
But so let me ask, when you did the original Generation video, did we have this one yet?
We didn't have this one. This was the last ones to come in. That video was a live video we did because they arrived the day that we were supposed to shoot them for it to go live. So we didn't have a whole lot of lead time. Thanks, Gibson. But yeah, we didn't have any L-00s. It's the biggest launch ever. So, but you know, I've been a fan of these. I included them in my best new guitars of 2021, and I will defend them against people on the internet, which we can get into a little bit later. But yeah, I think they're good guitars.
Yeah. You know, I think Gibson is one of those brands that people are so quick to like just jump on and criticize, and it's just because they're Gibson. I mean, it's the same with Fender and Martin and Taylor and stuff, but people seem to want to bully Gibson a little bit.
Well, sometimes Gibson earns their bullying.
Earn it, but then sometimes they do something that's pretty cool and they undeservedly get bullied.
Yes, I agree.
Yeah.
Well, so let's talk about the specs of these and then kind of what sets them apart for sure, and then we'll get into some of the Generation hate. But the Generation, it's a 00.
Yeah.
It's a G, it's a goo.
We got the goo over here.
So talk about the construction.
Yeah, so the thing is with the Generation, similar to, say, the American Dream, it's American-made acoustic guitars made of all solid wood at an affordable price point because they are pretty stripped down to just, you know, the basics. Like some of them have binding, this one does not. So this is just spruce top, walnut back and sides, mahogany neck, ebony fretboard. I mean, it's a really simple guitar.
And I like that, you know, we've emphasized this, ebony, not rich light.
Not rich light.
Not Formica, not something else. It's an ebony fingerboard and bridge.
It's all quality woods, and walnut's a nice tone wood, but that's basically what you're getting. You're getting a very small...
Grover tuners.
That's nice.
Yeah. You get a gig bag with it.
Small body acoustic guitar made in America at, when you're looking at Gibson, a relatively affordable price point. There's no pickup in this one. The G-Rider and the G-200 both do, and those both have binding. But say for the G-00, the G45, acoustic, non-bound. But I think it's a sharp-looking guitar. And the big thing is your player port. So you've got a hole, you got your, I don't know if you can really hold a cup in there, but you got like a flask holder.
They should make a flask that fits in there and put it on the Gibson accessory store.
Did they make...
They have covers for them for feedback.
Yeah.
So it fits both sound holes. So those are available.
That's interesting.
But yeah, I think a cup that will hold it, or maybe a receptacle for a high C fruit punch pouch.
Yeah, that would be
so
really
that while
nice.
you're playing,
Little
You can
Capri Sun
also
in there.
hydrate.
But really, with the player port, you're getting like a personal monitor.
You are.
So it's really nice to hear yourself this loud, which we rarely get the opportunity to do. You know, you're just getting sound straight to you, which is a really nice thing. Which is why I think this is the perfect couch guitar.
Yeah.
I mean, especially at this size, all of these sound really good to the player because you get a non-obstructed speaker straight to you. But at this size, the sound right there, it's perfect for sitting on the couch and jamming. So
the player port really makes this guitar that's smaller sound louder than it typically would to the player.
yeah,
It's one of the things that I noticed demoing these two guitars is the generation guitar just sounds louder because you're hearing more of it. It may, and I've argued this, probably color the tone that you're getting. You probably get more bass frequencies because of the location of the player port. But that's okay if it sounds good to you. Who cares?
And you get a peek inside the $1 million apartment. You know what I'm saying?
That's right. You get to look inside and it's easier to get your picks out, which is a bonus. A lot of people have had opinions on that. Yeah. A lot of the opinions of people that are keyboard commandos have said that they don't like the player port, and that's cool if you don't like the player port. And you know, particularly if you have a valid reason for it, like you don't like the aesthetics of it, or you don't like that maybe you're hearing something different than what the audience is hearing, although you are anyway. But I can get those kind of complaints about it. But otherwise, I think it's cool. Other companies have done similar things. Gibson found blueprints from the past that had features that were never introduced similar to this. I think it was further down on their blueprints, and that didn't make sense because your armpit would really be experiencing a lot of tone. But no, I think it's great, particularly for this series. Yeah. Because it's not hoisted in tradition like most Gibson stuff. Now this guitar, though not an L-00 standard, it's a studio model, is more aligned with that tradition, and so it would be, I could understand people would be upset if they were messing around with the formula too much. But this is very similar. It's built in the US. It's all solid wood, made in Bozeman, Montana. Now, the studio rosewood version is called that because it has rosewood, which is nice, versus the mahogany that typically would come on an L-00. You can get this in either this natural finish or sunburst finish. And with the spruce top, the rosewood, and this kind of smaller size, it's a really nice finger-picking guitar.
Yeah.
One of the things that we picked up on shooting the demo for this guitar, these guitars, is that neither of these is very adept at strumming. They're just not. So Josh even said so much as like, if strumming's your thing, you should avoid this guitar. Because it's just, the reason is it's too small, it gets overwhelmed. And that's even with, I have a fairly light touch, I think. Trying not to lay into it too much. It's just, it's not for that. You get a bigger guitar.
If you want to strum, we got a G45 and then you got a J45 Studio.
Yeah.
Same kind of thing.
But there's a definite price difference. You could buy 2 of these for what this costs. But this has binding. It has nitrocellulose finish. It has upgraded rosewood. It doesn't have your sound port. It has rosewood fingerboard and bridge instead of ebony. It's got your Grover tuners. Yeah. It comes with a hard shell case. And it's a great little guitar. It has a pickup in it.
Yeah.
And it's your classic Gibson sound and feel. I will say that this guitar has a better setup out of the factory. We by the way, some people have asked, do we set up these guitars before we play them? We don't. So if
we have to, it's too much work. We don't make the video. Yeah.
No, honestly, there's probably videos that I don't know about you, but I know that I've struggled to play certain guitars.
I've said it straight up.
Because it's like, this is not set up very well.
Yeah.
And I feel that speaks to the guitar, the manufacturing of the guitar. Like, if it's hard to play, it's for 2 reasons. The action's too high, the setup just in general is not very good, or I'm very uncomfortable on it. Yeah. And I can tell you on both of these guitars, I struggled a bit because the narrowness of the nut, and the action's a little high on that. The relief of the neck could be
a little bit.
Yeah, it's got a little too much relief. Neck angle's fine. The truss rod needs to be adjusted. So, is it $1,000 difference? Well, it is. It's like a $1,200 difference between these 2 guitars. But that's kind of the attention to detail that you get with something that costs more. Just takes more time.
Yeah.
In addition to the precious binding and the finish.
The binding on here, actually, I've heard it's about $1,200 for each one of those strips.
Well, as expensive as fake ivory is getting these days.
Out there with faux tortoise.
With faux tortoise.
Yeah.
They're losing all these faux tortoises. So you're going to hear these guitars, and I want you to pay attention to the difference in sound. Part of that is, most of it is actually the tone woods. Rosewood has more depth, more bass, more treble. Walnut's kind of like mahogany and maple had a baby. It's a drier tone, less overtones, more fundamental, some warmth, and a lot of brightness that comes out of it. But it's also probably different than what I heard hearing it from the player port.
Yep.
So take a listen to this demo so you can hear the difference between these two small body guitars for yourself, and then we'll meet you on the other side. So there you have it. The L-00 or the Lu versus the Goo. And I will say that, in my opinion, the L-00 Studio Rosewood is a better guitar. And it costs twice as much. So I hope so.
Yeah.
But I think this is a fantastic guitar too, particularly at its current price point of $999.
Yeah.
So let's address some of the hate that this guitar has gotten. We had comments on our videos of like, oh, you guys ordered a bunch of those, so now you're just trying to sell them or whatnot. Now, I think some people have strong opinions from the minute they were released, and that's cool. Like, you can have the opinion you can have. I don't think there's enough of that going around on the internet. Like, we can disagree. Yeah. That's okay. But I do want to address some things. There's been some videos done, like the guys from Driftwood Guitars. They like to cut guitars in half and then examine them, which is cool. I'm down for anything scientific in an approach. I've never played one of their guitars. They seem very beautiful, very cool. I like their videos, so this isn't to disparage them at all. But there was a point they made talking about the Generation Collection. And I don't remember which guitar it was that they
I think it was a
saw.
45.
It was like
I think
45.
It was a G45.
And one of the big complaints was that the back bracing doesn't even go into the kerfling, which is the slotted or curved liner on the sides of the guitar that help hold the top and the back to the sides. That's what kerfling is for. It's really just a larger gluing surface so that the tops and the sides and the backs can adhere to one another. And there's different styles of kerfling, by the way. Kerfling is technically slotted wood that's kind of bendable. You can also have solid guitar lining like you have in an American Dream guitar, which is, as far as I can tell, laminate strips that they've bent to that shape and used in there, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, that's cool.
But here's where I don't know if I even want to say like criticism. I'm not offended in any way, but here's a point I'm trying to make. The back bracing not going into the kerfling is not shoddy workmanship. It's design. In that guitar, it's rosewood, and the kerfing is slotted, and the bracing goes into it.
Yep.
Right? On this one, the bracing does not, and the kerfing is not slotted. So it's not made to go into it.
Yeah.
If you grab a $3,000+ Taylor 614 CE and you look at it, it also doesn't go into it. And that's by design. And that's because the tone wood they found, maple in that particular case, had such a dampening characteristic that they wanted to free it up a bit. And so by not taking these strengthening braces and going all the way to the ends of the guitar, it allowed it to move a little bit more. I just wonder, given that all of the Generation Collection is walnut and all of it has a similar tone to maple, that might have been part of the decision process in addition to streamlining the construction process.
Yeah.
Because then you're not having to like take a, cut, with a little blade of any kind.
Yeah.
I forget what a chisel's now called. Okay. You don't have to take a chisel and slot out a little piece of kerfling to accommodate this little bit of bracing that you're just not going to have go all the way. And is that a bad thing? I don't think so. I think it's just a design choice.
There's another thing that was in that video. When they opened it up, they saw maybe like some pieces of dust that were adhered to the back with some errant glue.
Yeah.
And just to say this, not to frighten anybody, but I've seen that on any given kind of guitar every once in a while. Like mass-produced guitars, I've seen that on Taylors, on Gibsons, on Martins. And then you check it out, you look inside, you decide if you want that or if you don't want that. And if you don't like that, you don't buy that guitar. But it's going to happen. So it just so happened this was on this one specific serial number of a guitar. And it's like every one of these guitars got crud in there. It's like, well, all right, come on.
Well, and let me be devil's advocate a bit. I don't want to defend Gibson to the point that they're allowed to make crummy decisions. I don't want Gibson to like get away with poor quality control. And so, to Cooper's point, I've had guitars from every manufacturer at some point come in with something wrong with them. Every manufacturer has kind of their amounts that happens, and yeah, I'll say that with Gibson, we've seen some of that more so than with some other brands. and it's gotten better over the years, but it still happens. And I think, you know, when you're dealing with what this guitar is, here's where it is. If you want to build a guitar with all solid wood construction in the US at a price point for this guitar currently of $999, then you have to figure out how to do so efficiently enough that the manufacturer can make money building the guitar. Otherwise, they just don't build the guitar. You can juxtapose that with buying a guitar that's arguably higher quality that's built elsewhere. Because in that particular case, the savings don't come simply from efficiency. They come from lower wages for the people building the guitars. So
then it's an argument
pick
between
your poison.
You and your conscience.
Pick your poison, okay? There's give and take in both cases, and this was meant to be a guitar comparison, but you know, there's enough that's gone out about these generation collections. I think this just needs to be said. Like, they're great guitars for the money, and if someone out there has wanted a Gibson acoustic guitar and can't swing $2,000, there is now a Gibson acoustic alternative for them. You know, and if you want to spend $1,000 or less than $1,000 and get something that's glossy and has binding and whatnot, then Epiphone is an alternative for you with great solid woods, and we've reviewed those guitars before. As far as these go, these are both US made, solid wood, small body guitars, play pretty good, sound great if you want a small body guitar.
If you want a generation collection and you're worried about what's going on inside, they gave you a window to check out the guitar before you buy it.
I was thinking about this earlier. What I see when I look in here is a really well put together, clean. There's no glue blobs. The bracing is sanded. It's a really well made guitar.
Yeah, and you hear about, you know, you get comments on YouTube and all that, and people that watch certain videos, they make an opinion. With guys that come into the store, they haven't heard anything about them. They see them on the wall. They take them down. They play them. They love them. They take them home. No complaints. I mean, there's a whole other world outside of YouTube.
Yeah.
And we've gotten a lot of these guitars, and we've sold a lot of the guitar. I mean, I think the G45 has by far been the most popular for us, but we have sold a little bit of everything and gotten more of them, and people keep showing interest. I mean, the people that aren't poisoned by certain opinions, they really enjoy them. And I think the person that enjoys them most is the person that's playing at home. They love to play guitar. They like the fact that they can hear a little bit more of themselves.
Yep.
And to be fair, a lot of people want to own a Gibson, and their prices make it really hard to do so. You can have a Gibson guitar, you can hear yourself playing it, and they made them look great. I mean, they look sharp. So I think for a lot of people, this has been a guitar that has filled a lot of different voids from Gibson.
Well, so here's how it is for me in this comparison we've done today. If I could choose either of these guitars and I had the money, no object, I would buy that guitar. I liked the tonal response of it more. I like the feel of it more. I like that it comes with a hard shell case. I like that it has a pickup. I like that guitar a lot better. If I could not afford that guitar, I would have no qualms at all adding this to my wall and having. In fact, there's something to be said for a satin finished guitar that seems a little bit less precious. You're more likely to just kind of kick it around, you know, like take it places and be less concerned. At least for me, I understand for a lot of people, $1,000 is a lot of money for a guitar, period. But I would be very, very happy with this guitar. And if you don't like either of these, I support your opinion as well. It's okay.
That's good for me.
Good for you. So if you are new here, this is what we do on our channel. We discuss, we compare, we go into bitter diatribes about guitars, and we hope that you come back for even more. So stick around. Make sure you subscribe. Become one of the 100,000 that helped us get that plaque. Turn on notifications and like our videos. And remember, I've said this before and I really do mean it. At the end of the day, the very best guitar in the world is the one that you are playing. So don't get caught up in everything else. Love what you love, do what you do, and we'll see you next time.